stress inoculation is essential for military members, first responders and others who exist in high consequence environments to function and hopefully even thrive in those environments. It's important also to look at stress and performance in the chronic sense. And what I mean by this is people who exist in those very high stress, high consequence environments can get a bit desensitized to how stressful that environment is. They can recalibrate and normalize that environment. And when we think of military members or first responders, these are the constant exposures to very abnormal stressors. This is the human suffering, the death, the dead bodies, the physical violence, the things that go with those roles, that over time you can become profoundly desensitized to the stress that that's having on your system, both physically and psychologically. So when we think about the Yerkes-Dodson stress performance curve, this is being pushed into the overload space, but being held there because of the day in, day out exposures for maybe years to decades of time in those roles. And this is what leads to the higher levels of chronic stress response hormones in our bodies that we see. The studies tell us exist in certain occupations in higher levels than the general population, occupations such as military and first response, and ultimately contribute to the higher rates of mental and physical health consequences that we see in those populations. So while that reality-based training and stress inoculation is essential to do the job well, it's very important to keep sight of the fact that these roles are stressful and that chronic stress load is pushing you towards overwhelm and breakdown. And so having some strategies to be able to wind back very deliberately, to take time away from the role and to have some strategies when you're not on the job to be able to wind down your chronic stress response so that you're not existing in that overload space for years to decades, which is heightened risk of pushing into that complete overwhelm, breakdown, burnout.